Oshun's feast day, which is coming up this weekend on the 7th. But basically, I'm taking this Moon and Venus conjunction with the Moon representing Yemoja and Venus representing Oshun, as this whole week, including the new moon, has been their feast week because these energies are so beyond a day. Okay, so this is a week, and I'm going to do my skincare with you and talk to you about really truly being a daughter of Oshun. Now, I know you girls are going to want to tussle in my comments. Hold up. Because this is something, calling yourself a daughter of a specific Orisha is a very touchy subject. But I have a whole video on how I spiritually awakened when I was 19. I had no idea who Oshun was. I had no idea who the Orishas were. And I had an intense, vivid dream about Oshun when I was basically still a little kid. Like, 19 is like, it's like being a kid. So I had no idea who that Orisha was. And she came to me, okay? I did not go to her. I did not Google, none of that. It was very pure, okay? Honest from my heart. I also went to my Ile. I got a reading. I was told I was supposed to be initiated. I started taking classes and going to the Ifa house that I have locally around me regularly. But I could not keep doing it because honestly, it was just too patriarchal for me. And there was a lot of things that I just was not down with. I am a women's studies major. Just want to put that out there. So at the time, I was like in college and learning about certain things. I had been through so many patriarchal situations, so many situations that led to misogyny war, and I could not have that inside of the spiritual practice that was so near and dear to me. So I didn't continue, on top of the amount of money that I would have had to spend to initiate as somebody so young. But yes, I've gotten a reading about who the Orisha was at the time that was with me. And I know when you get initiated, okay, the true Orisha that is supposed to have your head will be there, and the true Orisha that's supposed to have your feet will be there. But at the time, Yemoja and Oshun showed up for me. And it has been that way my entire life. I don't even have to think about it or guess. I know that I'm a daughter of both waters, and it has been incredibly hard. Okay? It has not been easy. When you really read the Pateke or the Odu about Oshun, okay, her life was incredibly difficult. Oshun was always having to overcome and prove herself and understand her worth. Her walk was not a walk in the park by any means necessary. Any means. Oshun, yes, she is a goddess of love. She is a goddess of fertility. She is a goddess of abundance and sensuality and all of these beautiful things. But Oshun is harder for me to work with. That principle is harder for me to master than working with Yemoja, because that self-love, like Oshun poured herself into every situation. She had to give up her children. She was in poverty. She lost everything that she ever had. And I guess I'm in that phase of my life right now. Like, I'm not trying to say I'm in poverty, and no, I don't have children. But just the idea of everything that I've ever wanted, everything that I've ever wanted to manifest, everything that I've ever poured love into, just seems like it's like disintegrating. And it always has. On top of the sensuality aspect of her, she had to learn how to control that shit. And when I was younger, same thing, to the point now where I'm like emotionally and mentally like fucked up by being so and sexual and creative at such an early age. Like, I'm a singer, I'm a writer, like novels, poetry, okay, short stories. All right, I've always wanted to like design, make products. Like, I've always been very creative. And even when I got my reading from my Baba, he was like, you know, creative people, like, they got to learn how to control themselves because they get a little too excited and they get a little too creative and, you know, spread themselves kind of thin. And that came with like a lot. I always tell people I went through a personal witch trial when I was a teenager because of how shunned I was and how like ostracized I was for being myself, and always knowing at an early age that I was very intuitive, very psychic, very creatively different, just different from everybody around. And now that's like a big ass wound that I have to heal, because it's forced me kind of like into this isolation. Like, I see a lot of Black women on here talking about like how Black women are going into elongated isolation from all the experiences that they've been through and all the trauma that has occurred from those experiences. And I'm here to say, like, yeah, I'm not much different than those Black women. The only difference is I'm aware that Oshun is my mom, and it's hard not to, I can't ignore the principle. I guess I'm just sitting here talking about it, not in a way where I'm just talking about spirituality and how to work with her in her altar, but like in a real note, how difficult it is to really be walking through some of the things that are talked about in her Odu and in her Patake's. Like, I feel like I'm struggling sometimes. For real. Let me get my last product out, my last oil. When I think of Oshun, I think of grace and resilience, and that's honestly how I feel about myself. I feel like I've been very resilient my whole life. And in this period of my life where things are really like, I'll say darkest before the dawn, and it's been like that because my life moves in cycles of 7. It's been like that for the last 7 years, and this is like the last year. And I'm so happy about it because I can feel that it's changing. But I have to accept all of what comes with being an Oshun, because do you guys understand how hard it is to be a sweetie pie in like this doggy dog world? I feel like I know you do, but I'm just like, it's just so difficult because I hate being perceived as like somebody who's so nice that you could do anything to them. But at the same time, I've always stood up for myself and I've always used my voice. Let me move this up. And being a daughter of Oshun is not for the weak. Okay, it is not for the faint of heart, because you really do have to hold that grace within yourself at all times, all times of the day, all times of the night, because fighting and being bitter has gotten me nowhere. And I've been doing that. I don't know what I just knocked down. I don't know what I just did. But yeah, fighting and being bitter, that's gotten me nowhere. The best thing I could ever do for myself is remain in a state of grace and self-peace or self-love, you know what I mean? And that's so hard to do. I'm not even gonna lie. It's hard to do. But I'm trying. The self-love portion is the hardest thing. I want romantic love. You know, I want interpersonal connection, but I have to have intrapersonal connection first. And Oshun is really doing her big one on me. She's doing her 1-2 on me as I transition into this next phase of my womanhood. As I've been telling people, I am growing into my grown-ass woman. And I want my grown-ass woman to look and feel a specific way. And I know that that comes with embracing being not just a daughter of Yemoja, but also being a daughter of Oshun. And it's very, very hard for me. Okay, I'm also adopted. And through my ancestors, I know that my mom is the one who's the Oshun. And it's just, because as a daughter of Oshun, I really do feel very misunderstood by the world a lot of the time, especially from where I'm at. People here like love to act hard and love to act rigid and just boring, not boring, but just like you can't do anything, you can't say anything, you can't express yourself. It's one way, it's one God, it's one mind, it's one sound. And I think I'm so exhausted. I almost forgot to put on my sunscreen. Oh my God, no. But I think I'm almost out of my sunscreen too, y'all. Like, this is ridiculous. That's how much I put this on. I do not play about my sunscreen. But I think I am so tired of being the one who's like always fighting for like female or like feminine empowerment, the LGBTQIA community, you know, for people of difference in general. Like, I am tired, but Oshun is not done with me yet. She's not done. I am wearing Petal Paradise today. I just like to wear like easy spray on scents at work. Like, I save my really good scents for the weekend because, okay. But yeah, and I'm so grateful to have Oshun as a leading force in my life, even though it's hard as hell and it's hard to remain sweet. Maintaining your sweetness is one of the most difficult feats in the world. And I know that comes with being a Libra because I'm a Libra sun and a Cancer moon. So you see daughters of two waters there, right there. And it's just crazy. It's crazy. But I'm so grateful. And you guys are going to see the offerings that I give to my mamas this weekend. And I'm real happy about it. I like to just do that. And I know that I will get initiated and get a proper crown because that's what my mom's told me I have to do. Okay. And my ancestors too. And pretty much every single person, because I've also worked in several spiritual shops that are not Black. So YT have come to me and been like, oh yeah, you were this in a past life and you need to do this and you need to do that. And I'm like, yes, girl, I know. And I need to get initiated to like protect myself a little bit more from people who can so easily read. But right now, I'm just not going to do that until I find an Elay that I'm comfortable with. And that makes me feel empowered in my spirituality and who I am as a woman, because my womanhood really does come first to me. But eventually I will. Okay. So this was a very personal antidote about my mommy, Oshun. And yeah, so thanks for listening.